In this video, we're going to talk about whether it's too late to start a video podcast for your business in 2021 coming up. What's going on, everybody? My name is Karim Mustafa. I'm co-founder and CEO of Tribe Tactics. And in this series of videos, we basically want to give you everything that you need to be able to start your very own original series for your business. So today we're going to talk about video podcasts for your business and whether, 2021 is already too late or whether you have time still. I'm just going to give it to you straight. You have plenty of time to get started. You are not late whatsoever. Matter of fact, you're actually right on time if you're watching this video in 2021. And I'll tell you why. Here's the thing, even though you might know three, four, five people, even in your circle, that have probably started their own podcast. It's almost like a trend these days on a personal level and even on a business level. You may feel that, you know what, like this area is already like saturated, but I'm here to tell you, you are bang right on time when it comes to actually starting your video podcast if you are in 2021 and watching this at the moment. So here's why. First of all, a lot of people compare video podcasts with other types of content that they could be creating for their content strategy for their business, right? Naturally, we understand that content is extremely important to our business's success and long-term success, and we definitely know that we need to do some form of content. We're just trying to figure out like what type of format would make the most sense. And so many times it ends up being, right, are we going to do like podcasts and video podcasts, or are we going to do blogs? Sometimes for some reason, I don't know why, but it tends to be like one of those two, and sometimes they're placed at odds in that regard. And I'm here to tell you that if you had a similar conversation internally, especially if you had limited resources and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to go about using them towards your content strategy, I just wanted to share with you a quick stat that will really help to put things into perspective just like that. First of all, did you know that there's only just about 1 million podcasts out there in the world? Just under or just over, hovering around 1 million. Whereas for blogs, did you know that there's actually more than 500 million confirmed blogs out there worldwide? That means that, then take this with a pinch of salt, but you can almost make the case that it's 500 times easier to start a video podcast than a blog. Probably as well, it'll take a lot less time for you to start that versus writing, right? Speaking takes a lot less time than writing at the absolute core of it. So definitely keep that in mind, especially if you're trying to have that conversation internally to convince your teammates, whether that's your peers or perhaps even your leadership team, that video podcasts are still very, very current and very, very potent in 2021. You can probably share that stat with them. The next thing is that we need to build thought leadership anyway. If we are in business, we might as well be the best in our specific niche, in our specific area of focus and expertise. So naturally, you're going to have that need to build thought leadership anyway. And right, naturally, people resort to blogs and written content to do that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with blogs and written content. It's just that you can get so much more by starting your own video podcast for your business. Excuse me. You can start your very own video podcast for your business and actually repurpose some of that content to become written blog posts anyway. So with one, you're able to get the other, but not necessarily the other way around. And this is essentially the best vehicle to be able to build thought leadership if you think about it, because on that topic of repurposing, you could really not just create blog posts, but actually create a lot of additional content for social media. Think of all the smaller video clips you could be creating. Think of even the dichotomy of having like video podcasts, but also audio content, audio podcasts with that, not to mention all the image like stats and quotes that you can extract from it. You can actually get an entire content strategy just by keeping things simple and focusing primarily on your video podcast as your show strategy, as your content strategy in that regard. And last but not least is the concept that we really believe in of the abundance of niches. A lot of people say, okay, well, you know what, I'm in marketing, for example. There's so many podcasts of marketing. The world doesn't need another podcast about marketing. And you might be right. However, the world probably needs another podcast about what you specifically focus on within the realm of marketing. And as you know, like the concept of niching down, there's so many different levers that you can tap into to come up with your own unique niche, right? Some of the easy and basic ones are like geographical niches, industry niches, so something for your specific city, right? For your specific country. for your specific industry, perhaps, you can even start to combine some of these. So, like a specific industry in a specific country, right? Beyond that as well, you can start to focus on different job titles, different even worldviews, and different psychographics overall, different worldviews of how certain things are supposed to be done from a content perspective and from a marketing perspective, and you can start to create shows around that. The same applies for finance, construction, healthcare, learning, software, IT, like any different industry that you are in. You might be right that there are a lot of podcasts about the general topic, but perhaps you can find your own specific niche. And the abundance of niche concept that I was mentioning earlier, what we mean by that is that even when a niche becomes saturated, it actually creates way for more niches to appear from there. So let's take to stick with the marketing example. Let's say we're like, okay, we're not going to do marketing, we're going to focus on e-commerce marketing, we're going to do an e-commerce marketing podcast, right? Let's say that becomes such that niche becomes saturated as well. Well, now you have the opportunity to get even more niche within that. Let's say beauty products that are being sold on e-commerce, like for marketing, right? To do a podcast around that, or for example, subscription box services, which is another form of e-commerce, right? And you could do a podcast around marketing those types of products, so on and so forth. So you can always niche down, and once any one of these becomes more saturated, you can niche down further and further from there. So really, there is an endless amount of niches if you think about it. And once you start to wrap your head around this, you'll realize that you should always go for that niche right away. You almost want that niche, and you almost don't want the general topic, because the general topic will be way too general and may not necessarily have an audience that you would be able to give value to and get value from in that regard. So niches are a good thing, and it's made even better by the notion that there really is an abundance of niches as you continue to niche down. So to summarize, it is definitely not too late to start your very own video podcast for your business in 2021. The movement is really only getting started. The fact that you're seeing other people do it is a great sign. I would take that as an opportunity to actually use that to encourage your team to actually do your own video podcast as well. And again, remember the stat of 1 million podcasts, 500 million blogs. That's really going to help to put things into perspective, even from a ranking perspective and from a competitive landscape perspective. And then last but not least is that you will need to build thought leadership anyway. You might as well use the best vehicle for that, which is creating a video podcast where you can voice your own thoughts as a company and do so perhaps in collaboration with other thought leaders in your space as well, not to mention all the benefits of repurposing from there. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. Let us know what you thought in the comments wherever you're watching this. And if it is your first time tuning into these videos, please do consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the future videos. And I'll see you in the next one.